Hey everyone, and welcome to Sports Break. I am joined today by Miss Harvey, professional gamer, joining us from Canada. I'm so excited to share what you're doing and just chat about sports. So, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so could you tell listeners a quick little intro to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, we're on a sports show, but I'm actually a gamer. I go in esports by the name of missharvey. I was a pro gamer for about 16 to 17 years in Counter-Strike, transitioning to Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and won a couple World Cups, but also been a game developer. And now I work full-time at Counter Logic Gaming, the esports org.
Won a couple World Cups. She won 6. So let's not hide those down there. Yeah, we're so excited to have you. And the beauty of this show is we're bringing people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, and just chatting about what sports or esports. Like I feel like gaming is a community that's you know very much similar to the sports, if not in the
Mhm.
sports community,
Mhm.
just what it has meant to you and how it's helped you grow individually and what you think it contributes to society. So I'll kind of ask first, like, did you play sports? And then, like, what gaming were you doing as a kid?
Yeah, my dad was a professional hockey player, so I was super into competition and sports, and I know that he loves me more than anything, but I know he wished he had a little boy too because he really wanted to teach him hockey. But my dad has been super competitive his whole life. Like he's now like the best golf player of his golf course. Like he's very intense. So I was raised in a family that loves sports, that watch sports all weekend, from Formula One to hockey to football to like everything. So it was always back in the back of my mind. And for some reason, I've played every single individual sports that could be, but I never really played a team sports when I was a kid. So I did like swimming, diving. I did dancing, which is kind of like group, but individual. I could practice at home. I did tennis. I did like so all the individual sports I was a part of, but I never or figure skating for
Oh,
7
cool.
years. So I did a lot of these kind of things, but never much team sports. Just intramural at school that I did like basketball and whatever. But no, always huge sports and art. I'd say like I
Mm.
also did drawing, painting classes. Like I was just a little bit everywhere. I did everything.
No, I love hearing that though, and I feel like that's something that I've heard a lot of professional athletes say recently is let your kid play everything. Like they'll pick up skills from certain sports that they'd never have and maybe the one that they're going to go far in and it will only help them. So I love that. And
Yeah.
figure skating, I mean, I feel like North Carolina, I didn't know many people that were into figure skating, but or that had a place to do it really. So I love that that's in your history. What do you feel like competing or having to train, and what do you feel like that um, shaped in you as a kid into your character of? I mean, there's just so much discipline that comes with that. I'm just curious.
Yeah. I think that the discipline from having an extremely busy schedule has always been uh, part of my life. Like on Sunday, I had figure skating in the morning, drawing at noon. Like it was just like all the classes all the time. I was part of every club at school, like prom club and yearbook club, fashion show club. Like I would do every club, and I was just like kind of support however I was, or however I could. So having that discipline to be able to get be a straight A student and also do everything else and be part of every community uh needed for my parents to be extremely organized because I didn't have a car or anything, so they had to like drive me everywhere. So it made me really close to my family, and also um when I was fed up, we would just stop going. So when I was like, I don't want to do figure skating anymore, it's been 7 years and I'm over it, they were just like, okay, there wasn't like a fight for me to continue. So I've always followed what I wanted to do, even when I was super young, which is kind of impressive for my parents to had allowed me to do like whatever I wanted. So I guess it taught me discipline and taught me that I also wasn't that big of a team player. Not because I didn't like it or anything. It's just my parents thought it was complicated to fit within a team and be there when the team wanted.
Hmm.
So I guess like they didn't like having friends at home. Uh, we were always kind of our family like this. So I never really did team sports, which was really interesting when I started doing gaming. I had to learn how to be a team player through gaming.
I was just about to ask because you talk about being on teams and competing, and I'm curious if you could share real quickly how a team works in gaming. Like, how does that work as you play together, but you're playing your own screen as well? So,
Yeah. So it's pretty similar to what you would imagine a sports be. Like you have to show up on time. You're 5 minutes late. Everyone's waiting for you. So there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. But there's also um, the fact that you communicate through voice and your emotions are extremely raw. Because I do feel that when you're talking to people online, you're kind of more
hmm,
real and open and whatever that means, because you can't see the interaction. You can't see someone being sad or being angry uh, or happy or whatnot. So the emotions are really, really raw. So it kind of actually probably was harder than doing sports in real life where you have people hug you and be proud of you. You can feel that you're doing something together. So you have to work extremely hard with your communication, with your debrief, with your positivity, with the way you use certain words, the way you talk while the game is live, um, the way you integrate a coach, the way you find a new player. Like we also are not like, unlike sports, if you are a soccer player, you learn really young from really talented youth coaches, and they really make you like lead you to being that professional soccer player that you can be. In gaming, we have none of that. So you're kind of like by yourself. So whatever personality you have is probably the personality you're gonna get once you get to pro. So that means if you're kind of a little jerk or brat or an asshole, you'll be a little jerk or brat pro. Okay.
right,
There's no one to kind of teach you how to be a decent uh teammate, if that
right.
makes any sense.
Oh, it does. And you're right. The one that's not like right either beside you, or you're having to concentrate here, so you can't interact oh,
Yeah.
that's so interesting.
So it's actually, I think, even more difficult. So to have players that are more experienced with players that are less experienced is extremely important in gaming, because um to control emotions, to understand what it's like to lose, to be okay with losing, all that kind of stuff needs to be taught by other players. Because
Hmm.
unless you have a great personality and you're just a great person overall, and you won at the lottery of life with your family and everything, then okay, you can become that really zen pro player. But because the emotions are so important in gaming, 'cause it's pretty much controls how you're going to play at a really high intensity. Um, you need to be taught that now. So that's why we work a lot more with sports psychologists, player development coaches. That's why the coaches now are being trained as well to be coached, but it's all like super, super the beginning of that. So most coaches that you find in esports are not trained. They were just like good at the game and they became coaches. So everyone is kind of self-taught. It's kind of a mess, but excuse me, it's interesting to see where it's going to lead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would have. I mean, I get because after I play Mario Kart, sometimes it's a hot mess, and it's like, oh, you're right. The mental, emotional side of this is so much more intense.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
much. I always say
blowing my
that
mind.
for me, gaming is muscle memory, right? If you practice your muscle memory and whatnot, when it's really high intensity, all that matters is how you control the emotions and how you
True.
control your breathing, your tempo to be able to do it the right timing, and how you analyze a a situation is heavily based on your mental strength.
Hmm.
So so I think it's like Olympians that they're trying to win 0.1 second. I compare it to the Olympics a lot more um than to like hockey or football, just because we're talking about microsecond decision and stuff that can really have an impact on their whole career.
Yeah.
Um, so the Olympians are probably, and we work a lot with Olympic coaches, um, are really close to how it feels to be at a high level intensity esports
Man, that's so cool.
game.
Well, I'm curious too, because I do think community is such a big part of the sports industry. And so we're a little bit different on our format today, just because I feel like a lot of esports and gaming is so popular, but still a lot of people don't know what it looks like or what it's like to be in it.
Mhm.
Um, what is the like fandom of gaming and esports like? I mean, now they have arenas they can go to and watch it happen, but what's that camaraderie like?
It's very interesting because I think that the unlike any other celebrities in any sphere, uh, gamers and I would say influencers, but more gamers, just because of Twitch, we are probably the celebs that communicate and talk to their friends the most. That we're the most approachable. That we are the most raw and honest and whatnot, just because of Twitch and Discord and all these places that you can actually talk to your favorite pros and be the fan and be part of their community and even volunteer for them, which they often need to be able to do everything they're doing because unlike like a celebrity that's making millions that can afford to buy their staff or to hire staff and whatnot, like usually esports outside of like I would say the top 100, most of them don't make a lot of money, so they need staff, they need volunteer, they need like people to support them. So I would say that that's the main difference, and the fandom is no barriers worldwide.
Yeah.
So for example, like League of Legends players are superstars. Um, Counter-Strike pros at the top are superstars as well. So when they go in an arena, they can't just walk. They need an entourage to protect
Yeah.
them and whatnot, or else they're gonna stay there for hours signing autographs and being like chased by and whatnot. So yeah, it's quite interesting to see how big this has become. And then after retirement, some of them become even bigger celebrities. So if you're thinking people like you probably know Ninja because he was like on American TV shows and whatnot, but Ninja and Shroud, there's a two in Summit, those are three of the most famous influencers in gaming, and they're all ex pros who decided to do entertainment. Um, and they now their career is bigger and better than ever. Um, so there's also that possibility after, but they continue being accessible and being there for the community, which is kind of very interesting. You never know when one of them is going to reply to a tweet you wrote, which is kind of fun.
That is fun. Yeah, I agree. Well, and what do you think that brings to society as a whole? What value does community like that, or fans of a certain team in this sport, what do you think that brings to community or to society?
Yeah, I think that this is something that we both need to learn from each other. So I think that one thing with gamers and pros, and I say we're always accessible, that's probably also a downside, right? For our mental health. Very draining, very difficult to take days off because you feel like you're going to lose half of your community because you didn't show up one day and then they're going to go to someone else who showed up. There's a lot of pressure when it comes to that. But also at the same time, I feel that on the other celebrities and especially marketing campaigns uh, of the more traditional celebrities, whether it's movies or TV or whatnot, they could learn from us from how accessible, how real we are. Our promotional campaigns usually are either hated because they're fake or embraced where people consume the project like crazy, like was super loyal. So when you have a streamer, like I don't really have anything like a brand, but we have a streamer that drinks your drinks while they're playing. It's probably more powerful than someone in a commercial doing like, hey, I love this drink, you know? Yeah, but do you actually
Right.
right? So I think there's a power of being real that usually um, comes with ups and downs, I would say.
Sure. Yeah. Ah, very cool. Well, and what do you think? I mean, I know that a big part of what you've done in your career is building inclusive places. And what do you think that sports or gaming allows for people who maybe feel like they're on the fringe? Does that question make sense?
I think that one thing about gaming, obviously, when you think about it, is that there's no physical restriction, or at least like major physical restriction. Obviously, there is, but not at the same level as sports. So pretty much anyone can become a pro gamer at they just need to find the right game, and they just need to find the passion and the time and the work, which is completely different than sports. Sports, you have to win the lottery in a specific sport. You can't, like, if you think about basketball, if you're not 6 foot,
Right. Or Michael Phelps was literally built to be a swimmer. Yeah.
you had like palm feet or something, right? Or like whatever, however you say that. But like you have to win the physical lottery to be good in your sports, with the rare exceptions of like if you're into hockey. St. Louis from Tampa Bay, I was like 5'4", but or 5'6", like one of the smallest. But he is like an exception, right? The rest is pretty much have to win the lottery. So when it comes to gaming, it's completely different. You can actually work. So sorry, you can actually work your way to being a pro. You have to find the right game. You have to find the niche, but you have to also find what you're good at. But there are pros that are not um they're not the best shooter, they're not the fastest typer, and they find other ways with their brain or with their support or the way that they handle the pressure to become pro, because when it matters they show up. So um there's a pretty big variety of pros. So it's very interesting to me. I think that's our edge when it comes to gaming versus esports. Also think um, no frontier is pretty big. Although there are teams that are recruiting within the countries. The fact that Brazilians play with Europeans, and like just like people are moving across the world for gaming, and they can find kind of a home
Hmm.
anywhere they want. It's like a universal game is like a universal language in a way where it doesn't matter what main language you speak, as long as you play the game well. We'll teach you French or English or whatever, which is very interesting.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, what sport do you think that you played growing up was your favorite?
Mm, Swimming.
Swimming. All right. Do you have a favorite swimmer? Like in the Olympics, is there a favorite race that you like to watch?
Uh, for whatever reason, I really like relays. So like the 400 meters
Mm-hmm.
swimmer. This is really fun to me. Or 500. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like usually it's at the end of
Uh-huh.
the swimming week. It's probably my favorite. It's pretty big too in Quebec. I feel that we're pretty good swimmers in the Summer Olympic. That's probably like after the first week, we're like, all right, no more medals. In the summer in Canada, it's like not our great strength. But yeah, I really like that. Also wish I like to watch. I love hockey, obviously. I love um to watch football now. I didn't like it before, but my boyfriend is super into the NFL, so now I'm like, I love it. I think it's a sport you have to understand and be taught. You can't just watch it and appreciate it like hockey, I think. And then tennis. I'm a big tennis fan. I watch so much tennis. Um, and honestly, the Olympics, I just stopped living for 2 weeks and I watched.
Same. I love them. I'm on it like, okay, let's watch archery on NBC Sports Network. I mean, I just love getting into any of it, but I really get into the ones that don't get the prime time showing. It's just so fascinating. And it's people who've worked so hard their whole lives, but especially the last, like 2 or 3 years, and they're at the peak of, it's just amazing.
Which is really sad right now with COVID.
I know.
In Quebec right now, there's specific sports that they can't train anymore. It's putting in jeopardy their Olympic dream. It's really, really sad. There's a lot of sad story, but yeah, I love the Olympics. I'm grateful that it's not every year like it was when I was young, because I would need more vacations.
Yeah, no, I love it too. I'm hoping 2021 we can do something. I don't know. We'll see. COVID's kind of
never ending
again, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't know if you know the women's hockey league here, but they put a team in Toronto.
Yeah.
For Toronto 6. So I'm super pumped for that to start in January.
Me too. I watch it on Twitch. I also went to their All-Star game. They invited me this year.
That's awesome.
Yes, I was on the ice with my streaming camera during the All-Star game for women, and it was quite fun to be there. Yeah, they have a talk show every Monday. I was on for I think episode 2, I was on doing a small interview. So, and the person that hosts the talk show, Gamer Doc, she's actually a gamer. So I'm featuring her in our next videos on CLG. Awesome. So yeah, it's been quite awesome to be working with them.
She's awesome. Open Ice is the show on Mondays, and it is so well done. I love it. And I love that so many women's leagues I don't love that they haven't been given the attention they deserve. That's a whole other story. But that they're saying, all right, we'll figure it out ourselves. And they're going to Twitch and they're streaming every game. They're having shows. It's just awesome to see, how unfortunately sometimes women have to get creative. We're very creative, but like the fact that we have to be, it's like, okay. But I think they're doing a great job. So that's so cool. I didn't know that. That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's the only women league I follow. I think in sports I don't follow the
NBA.
Yeah. Just because it's literally not broadcasted here.
Right.
Okay, there's no way for me to follow it. So I follow the women's hockey league because it's on Twitch. Yeah. I think that the soccer women league is going to be on Twitch too. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, they started some this past fall season, and we're all hoping a Toronto or Vancouver team is in the near future. That would be amazing.
That'd be really cool.
MLS is up there. Let's get the NWSL. Let's go. So.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again so much for joining us today. And where can people follow you?
At missharvey everywhere. Super active on social. My team do the best that we can. So if you message me there, I'll probably answer. I have a Discord server. For those who don't know, it's like a chat platform. So you can chat with my community on there all the time.
Awesome. Well, thanks again.
Thank you for having me.